Because I'm falling asleep already.
It says it right here in the rundown, Ravens offense discussion.
Please let Willis McGahee be help to this football team, because the truth is, if you think about it, when I had Garrison Hurst or Ricky Waters, you got Emmitt Smith, you get a running game going. Now you put it in the belly of that running back, pull it back out, linebackers come up, and Todd Heap, the best tight end in the league, I believe, down the middle, using them zone defense. Now you can score some points. Without a running back, you saw what happened last year, this team cannot go all the way. I can't express enough about the need for Willis McGahee to be able to run the football so they can pass the football.
Tonight is the night for Willis McGahee to step up and stand out. This is Monday Night Football. If you cannot get jacked up on Monday Night Football, go ready to go play against Cincinnati. You don't need to be in the National Football League, but this is your time. Shine tonight, or everybody's going to be riding your back for the rest of the season.
McGahee last year averaged 70.7 yards per carry, virtually the same as his predecessor, Jamal Lewis, 70.8. He also averaged 3.8 yards per carry, the exact same as Rudy Johnson the last 2 years, 3.8. But that 3.8 might not even be the most important thing coming to a new team. It's all about team chemistry. Sal Palantonio, how's that working out for Willis McGahee?
Well, Stu, there's a very quick but telling story about Willis McGahee coming to the Baltimore Ravens. They knew the problems that he had in Buffalo, so two senior players in the locker room, took it upon themselves to mentor Willis McGahee. First of all, Ray Lewis from the University of Miami, like McGahee, called him up the day that he was traded to Baltimore and said, hey, I'll see you tomorrow, and this is what we do. And then Ed Reed said, you know what, after every practice, we're going to go into the weight room together, another U of M guy. So as Coach Parcells said, you know, Boomer, they had to get this guy and figure out what was wrong with him in Buffalo and get his personality checked when he got to Baltimore. Boomer?
Well, thank you very much, Sal. And what I know about Willis McGahee, and we all know the way he runs, I would think that his personality of running hard would fit right in with the way the Baltimore Ravens have things in mind. Part of the thing in Buffalo is he threw out some statements like, well, I know the whole team should be playing in Toronto, not Buffalo. That didn't endear him to the fans and stuff, but as somebody once said, that's water under the bridge. So now he is in Baltimore, and now, for those of you just joining us here on Monday Night Countdown, breaking news from the New York Giants, or not yet from the New York Giants, but concerning them. Not only did they lose last night 45-35 in a shootout at Dallas, despite the fact that Eli Manning played well, just not as well as Tony Romo, who had 4 touchdown passes. Manning left the game, you may know, late in the game with a shoulder injury. Let's bring in Chris Mortensen again on what we have learned lately about the severity of the shoulder of Eli. Mort?
Chris, we have two sides to this story. My side, what I'm reporting is that Eli Manning has a slightly separated shoulder, that he's going to be out at least a month. He will not need surgery. The Giants officially are saying they're denying that story. They're saying he has a contusion to the AC joint, that he's day-to-day, and don't be shocked if he plays on Sunday. And Eli himself says he has a bruise. But again, I'm going to stand by my story based on my sources. What they're telling me, a slightly separated shoulder, out for a month. If he plays on Sunday, then obviously they are right.
Well, it is only Monday, Mort, here, and let's take a look and see. The Giants, of course, host the Packers in their home opener this Sunday at the Meadowlands. So Brett Favre comes to town with, oh, by the way, a chance to set the record for most wins of a starting quarterback. Would be 149 if he could win that. Then the Giants at the Redskins, home to the Eagles, a team that they played to the final gun in the playoffs last year, and then home against the New York Jets, which will have all New York on its ear, although New York teams gave up 88 points yesterday in their combined efforts against the Cowboys and the New England Patriots. So a separated shoulder, as Mort describes it. Let's bring our quarterback, Steve Young, in again. Reiterate what you feel about separated throwing shoulder. How could Eli function at all?
Well, Boomer, it's all about severity. They're saying slight separation of shoulder. That's the best thing I could have happen to my shoulder, because what you don't want, what it looked like, his elbow got jammed back into the capsule of his shoulder, and that's where you get that bruising up in the capsule, and that's tougher to get over. And then you can tear your labrum, other tissue tears, and then you got a real problem. If it's just a slight separated shoulder, he can come back in 4 weeks and play football. But know that when it comes to quarterback, there's going to be a lot of intrigue about the team actually telling you exactly what's wrong.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Now let's kick it around here. Let me start with you first, Bill, and let's talk about Eli for a minute and then go into where the Giants are going. I mean, here's a guy in year number 4. You feel for him because didn't your gut tell you and your eyes tell you last night that Eli was going to be on his way here perhaps this season?
Yeah, he was playing very well. He was playing, I think, the best that any of us have certainly seen him play last night. But I think you're going to know what his condition is just by what reaction the Giant organization takes. If this is going to be more than the month, they've got to get somebody. We mentioned Leftwich. Who knows? Tampa has some extra quarterbacks. They might have to trade. If it's not going to be that much, they might just try to hold the fort, bring Tim Hasselbeck back, a guy they had in camp, probably more experienced than Lorenzen or Wright, who they currently have on the roster. They might bring him back, try to hold it for a month, and then go back to Eli. Can't afford to lose 4 games now, 4 or 5 games in a row. Season's gone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. His kid was playing tremendous, lights out the last game, like I said earlier. But the problem that you have, if you go out and get a guy like Byron Leftwich, he doesn't want to be a Band-Aid. He wants a long-term deal, and they're not going to be able to do that. So the thing that they have to do is make a decision on what quarterback, if it's going to be the kids that's already there, bring in Hasselbeck again for him. Otherwise, this is probably, and I would probably say this is the biggest loss for them. Last year, this year, you say Tiki Barber's gone, but the quarterback position, and we all know this is the most important position in all of professional sports.
Yeah, and because he was playing well, Key, the thing is that we always try to judge a quarterback, especially by the adversity that he's fighting. When you think about Eli Manning, not only this year, but last year as well, you know, hearing the naysayers say that, you know, you can't play the position, you can't play in New York, you're not the leader that we need you to be for this football team. He came out and he was all of those things last night. And I think that that's the thing I take away from the game. It was win, lose, or draw. I was going to take away, boy, did Eli Manning play well. And Coach said you can't lose 4 games. You know, we used to use that 0-2 stat all the time. I don't know if you can afford to lose the first 2 games in this league and think that you're going to be around at the end where everybody wants to be.
We have a guy that the only time it was just about the only time it was done because Emmett held out.
That's correct.
They were 0-2. They went on and won the Super Bowl. But then again, as we decided, there is only one Emmett.
There was one Emmett.
Yes, that it's a shame. We'll know more as the time goes on. But Eli Manning, shoulder problems for sure, and Mort reports could be in the neighborhood of a month. But we'll know more as we move along. Lorenzen's first NFL passes happened last night. He's the heaviest quarterback. Let's make no mistake about that. He was heavy yesterday in the Meadowlands. Randy Moss. He answered a few questions Sunday, but did the Patriots? Now did they peep in on the Jets? And Ray Lewis, maybe in better shape than ever. Will it pay off in Week 1? Ray and the Ravens against the Bengals on opening night.
Whiteboard Breakdown, brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
In today's UPS Whiteboard Breakdown, Coach Parcells on Ben Roethlisberger's key to success yesterday.
Well, you got Willie Parker running for 109 yards, Chris, and now Roethlisberger here. You see the guard pulling to pick up the outside blitzer. 2 receivers off the front side, the backside split end on the in cut, and San Antonio Holmes over the top, and Roethlisberger finds him for an easy touchdown. End zone shot of the same thing. Notice the guard pulling to block the outside backer. 7-man protection, plenty of time. Throw it up, easy catch. Safety's a little short on that play, I might add. A little later on in this game here, see a traditional, what we call a sprint draw pass to the front side. 3 receivers out, 1 side, backside tight end coming across. This front side tight end runs what we call a sail pattern, walks into the end zone. Holmes cleared it out on the post on that pattern as well.
All right, Ben Roethlisberger having his way with the Cleveland Browns, and well executed, fun to watch them certainly play the offense. Well, from 1 runaway game, that was the game at Cleveland, to 1 at the Meadowlands involving the Patriots and the Jets, and gap between the Patriots and Jets, which was pretty wide off the playoff result last year, didn't seem to narrow much. In fact, as we go to somewhere in the swamps of Jersey, pretty impressive for Tom Brady and all the weapons that he has for the New England Patriots. Randy Moss making his debut. Let's not forget that Wes Welker had a sharp game as well with 6 catches. But Brady to Moss, like zing, that was right away. You see the zing, his first catch to the Patriot. Then along the sideline. And watch how some of these throws, and Tom and Key, we were looking at this yesterday together, either Moss can catch it or they're going to be incomplete. Only he could get that, not the defender. How about the throw there right on the money to the 10 that led to a touchdown? Now, of course, this is an NFL record. Second half to 8 yards deep. Who runs it out 8 yards deep? You know, when somebody does that, and if you go 8 yards deep, you down it, right?
Yeah, you should. He should have got tackled on about the 14-yard line there, but
shoulda, coulda, woulda, gone.
He should have been tackled.
108-yard return changed the game. It was a 14-7 game. Now it's 21-7. Ellis Hobbs. And now Chad Pennington sacked by Ty Warren. Awkwardly bends his right leg. Give him the nod. He tried to hang it, even hopped off to avoid using a timeout. Our producer, Seth Markman, said, don't get on the Jet fans that much, but we are anyway. They're better than that. They were booing, they were cheering when Clements get in. Brady with the play action. How about that? 3 defenders, goodbye.
Boom.
First touchdown as a Patriot, it was 28-7, and then with Junior Seau leading the way, the Heath Evans scores, and the Patriots beat the Jets 38-14. So you saw everybody. You saw Dallas Thomas, the former Raven, get involved, break up a few passes, make a few tackles. But Randy Moss to the Patriots. You were chirping all morning, Keyshawn, so round 1 goes to you. What does it mean for the Patriots here to have that kind of receiver, if we see that all year?
First of all, I have to do this because I told him I would do it. You were right. Outstanding receiver. He has great speed. He's opened up the football field for Tom Brady. I said that Tom Brady was given the keys to the entire field. But last night in commentary by Tom Brady, he called him a great leader and a role model. And I challenge that. Because I look at his body of work over the course of his NFL career, a great receiver, I grudgingly give him that. But, you know, role model, great leader, I think that's left to be proven. He had these same kind of opening games when he joined the Vikings, when he joined the Raiders. I'd like to see what happens 10 weeks down the road, 12 weeks down the road, into the season.
But I think Tom Brady, TJ, I think Tom Brady is talking about camp, the team that he's with now. He's not talking about the Minnesota Vikings or the Oakland Raiders. He's talking about the New England Patriots. What Randy Moss is doing on that team and in that locker room, he's going to get hell from everybody all year long because he had a bad career in Oakland. Now he's having a fast start, off to a great start actually, and he'll probably make the Pro Bowl. He's off to a great start.
Do you think you change your character though?
No, wait.
But he's with a good team. He's with a good team with a good coach.
The Minnesota Vikings weren't a good team.
Okay, in 1990, I got stats for you now. In 1998, he caught 4 balls, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They went on and went 15-1 and played in the championship game. Did all of a sudden Randy Moss disappear? The Raiders were a bad team when he caught for 130 yards and a touchdown on opening day, and then things went bad. They were a bad football team.
Here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma. The dilemma is not with Randy Moss. It's with the New England Patriots. They block for the passer pretty well, all right? If you don't get a good pass rush, you're going to have a problem because Brady's going to pick apart his zone. He can get to that second. He can get to that third guy. He'll pick the zone apart. And now the weapon, Moss, you play man-to-man, and there's the guy to beat the man-to-man. So unless you got great corners.
So how are you going to defend him then?
Well, you got to disrupt Randy Moss as he comes off the line of scrimmage. He's not a big physical receiver. He's big, but he's not physical. You've got to disrupt him. If you don't have corners that'll do that, or you don't have somebody that can get Tom Brady down, they're beating you.
You know what? It's like, though, new toys, because really in the Patriots' run here, they haven't had a big receiver. They really have. Now, Givens was sizable, but they have not had a big receiver, and Brady now can throw at 6'6", and only there where Moss can catch it or it's incomplete. Wow. Just give him a new toy, and I think he's going to be awfully ready. We saw that on yesterday's performance. Let's go to Chris Mortensen now. Now there's drama certainly in this rivalry with Coach Belichick beating his former assistant Eric Mangini 3 out of 4 now. Other allegations. What happened yesterday? The word spying involved? Well, explain this, Mort, because it's too early for 007.
I know, but the NFL is now confirming a story we did earlier, as I've been told that JetsConfidential.com also did, and that is that during the game between the Jets and Patriots, NFL security confiscated a camera and the videotape in it that a Jets employee, a video assistant, that he was aiming at the Jets sideline, focusing on the Jets defensive coaches as they gave their signals. That's against the rules. That's against the rules. So the league is definitely looking into this. And I'm just wondering with the coach, a former coach on the set over there, Coach Parcells. You've coached with Belichick before.
Listen.
Where'd they get this idea from?
I might be the only guy that can remember this on this set right here, but you know, I remember the Brooklyn Dodgers accusing the New York Giants in 1951 of stealing the signal. So what's new? That's nothing new. But here's what you can do to combat it if you want to. Here's exactly what you can do. Give your defensive players wristbands. Have them numbered 1 to 30 on defense. Same way we used to have to play against a no-huddle offense. Have your defensive coordinator signal a number. By the time they finish trying to sort those numbers out, the game's over. You change the numbers next week, no problem.
Yeah, y'all are the.
Well, on a more serious note, because the technology is getting advanced, it's getting a little bit more sophisticated, this gamesmanship or spying or whatever you want to call it. The league says it sent out a warning again late last year to all teams about it. The competition committee has basically looked into it, and I've been told by a competition committee member that there could be a conference call on this and eventually recommend to the commissioner that they should penalize the Patriots, and among those penalties could include docking them a draft pick. This is considered a serious offense in terms of competitive integrity if, in fact, these allegations are proven true.
Not much to say, man. It's Monday night. It's Monday night, first game, division rival. And let's go out here and set the tone early, man. Let's bust them in their mouth. They came here last year, we bust them in the mouth, they quit. Let's bust them in the mouth early, man. Let's set the tone early, baby. Hey, Bengals on 3, baby. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, the Bengals ready. The Packers won yesterday, a record-tying win for Brett Favre. More importantly, can the Pack challenge the Bears in the Norris? We'll be back.
Welcome back. Y'all better strap yourselves in for a ride on the 2006 Bengals roller coaster. Here we run! Like any coaster, the Bengals started moving uphill with 3 straight wins to open the season. And then NFL gravity took over as they went 1-5 in their next 6, and you could hear the screams all the way from Cincinnati. Hey, but they survived that plunge and went back uphill as coasters do, winning their next 4 games and looking destined to make the playoffs. But the ride took one last turn for the worse with 3 straight losses. They missed the playoffs at 8-8. So for Carson Palmer, it's 2 straight years of heartbreak to end the season. They missed the playoffs last year. 2005, they made the playoffs. Carson actually threw a 66-yard pass on his last play. He also got his knee shredded on that last play when an opposing D lineman bent his plant leg in a direction that plant legs aren't meant to be bent. So for a guy who arguably has the best combination of strength, accuracy, and touch, Carson Palmer realized basically he's proved nothing, which is why Carson, mic'd up in tonight's soundtracks during training camp, ought to be pretty revealing.
What do you want me to sign? Some sign your forehead. You got a pen? You got a pen? No. How can I sign something? How's it gonna sign it for you? Those are sweet shorts. Hey, where'd you get those shorts? I need those to play golf in. Heads up, heads up. Oh, I just saved your life. Oh, man. Why do we change fields every other day? Defense never changes. I think they just like to make us chubby guys run. Stretching is the worst part of my day. You walk like you're 52.
Hey, I'm moving around. I'm no stiffer than you.
That's true. That's a good point. Tight! Great tight! Great tight! That was nice. That was nice. Great job. Just look at Benny's face. Just look at his face.
12, 83, 88, 16.
Look at it, guys.
Hey, what kind of haircut do you call that?
See that last look for you?
It's a good look, man. I don't know. Hey, you remember T-Stew? T-Stew would do his hair every morning before 6 o'clock meetings. Doug gels up too. Little product in the hair, little foof. Great tight! Good job, fellas.
What's the matter, man?
Dude, all I do is like 3-step drops and turn around and hand the ball off. No, believe me, I'm glad the position I play.
You saw Carson completing that long pass in camp. Dude's getting better at throwing at targets over 20 yards. Check out these numbers comparing the last 2 seasons. Deep balls, no problem. His passer rating is up, as are his yards and completions. But yo, Chad, Ed Reed has picked you off 3 times in the 4 games you all faced off each other, so look out. For a report on Ed Reed's Ravens, we go to Sal Palantonio for the teams at 20.
Hey, Stu, important injury update for the Baltimore Ravens. Jonathan Ogden, their Pro Bowl left tackle for 10 years, will start tonight. Remember, he's had a hyperextended big toe in his left foot, his plant foot, that has been giving him problems. He hasn't taken a snap of live football since January. I talked to him before the game. He said it's heavily taped up. I'm going to go. I'm going to see how much pain I can take. But Ogden, Stu, will start the game.
Thanks a lot, Sal. What you can't see of Sal Palantonio, his ankles are actually taped for the game as well. Just know that you know. Game time coming up here in about 25 minutes. Bengals and Ravens kicking off the Monday night showcase here for ESPN. Carson Palmer on the field, second in the AFC last year in passing yards and touchdown passes behind Peyton Manning. Coming up on Monday Night Countdown, the Bears. A new Bears season kicks off like the last one ended with a whole lot of quarterback question marks. How concerned are we about the Bears' offense, or as Barry Melrose says, offense? And AFC North could be the most competitive division in football this year. Who's going to win it? We will find out and ask our fellas. And tonight's game may go a long way to answer that. The Ravens and Bengals next.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS.
All right, we're over here in the corner now because we talked too much at class with Bill and Keyshawn. We're going to call this Read and React, all right? We're going to read a highlight yesterday, and then we're going to react to whether what we see or some things that happen in the game. Like, let's chart. Ready for this? Yes, you are. Bears, you have that look of, I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't.
No, of course you do.
In.
Norv Turner had the look of, what are they doing? The Bears are shutting us out until LT threw a touchdown pass to Antonio Gates, and then, hey, the Bears did an unbelievable defensive job on LT holding them to 25. This is one of the tougher 7-yard runs you will ever see, but in the end, San Diego beat the Bears 14-3 on a day in which Chicago, once again, here we go, they turn the ball over 4 times. How concerned are we with the Bears on offense?
I'm not concerned with the Bears. I'm concerned with the quarterback, Rex Grossman. That's who I'm concerned with.
Well, you better be concerned with the offense because they turned it over 4 times, and your 2 running backs that you got filling in for Thomas Jones both fumbled. And I'm not sure about Cedric Benson now. Are you?
No, not at all. They got rid of the best guy. He's in New York.
That's right.
And they got the rookie tight end Olsen that will be, I don't know where he is on the blocking scheme.
He's hurt.
Right. So
can't help the club in the tub.
Exactly right.
So we're a little, although the Bears at home next week against Kansas City, ooh boy. They may get healthy in that one. All right, Eagles, Packers. And the Packers, now all of a sudden, they win the game, although it wasn't one of the most artistic for Brett Favre. They get a muff Eagle punt early, and the Eagles fair catch J.R. Reed, but a 7-yard swan dive to try to make the play, and that sets up, eventually, Mason Crosby, who he stills and nashes one through the uprights. It was his 3rd field goal of the day. And the Packers beat the Eagles 16-13, a stunning loss for Philly. Can the Packers now, they've won 5 in a row, 4 at the end of last season and then yesterday. Can they make a run at the Bears in this division? What do you think?
I'm telling you, if it snows a lot, they're going to really make a run because their defense key is good enough. They've got a good front. They got 2 good corners, Harris and Woodson, and they've got good, speedy linebackers that defend the space plays. Now, offensively, I don't know whether Favre's got enough firepower around him, particularly outside and at the tight end. But if they can score in the 20s, I think the defense.
Well, the way
will
the Bears looked yesterday, I don't know the Detroit Lions may even step up and take this division. The way they played against the Oakland Raiders, they have firepower. But I think Favre is manageable. He can do some things offensively, and their defense, like you said, is extremely good.
They have young running backs and receivers other than Driver. You're right. Brett was frustrated offensively yesterday.
Cullen Jenkins. Write that name down. Defensive lineman for the Packers. Cullen Jenkins. Looks good to me.
And I asked the weatherman what the home games were at Lambeau. Only 2 of the last 6 are at home at Lambeau, but they do have a December game in Chicago. So possibility for 3 late games of snow. Steelers, Browns. Boy, it was snowing on Cleveland. Mike Tomlin did what Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher did. They won their opening game. They won a lot more games, too, as Ben Roethlisberger to Hines Ward right away. And then he kept going. Ben Roethlisberger throwing 4 touchdown passes on this day. This was Santonio Holmes, which Bill showed you on our whiteboard a little bit earlier. So we saw Pittsburgh. Now we're talking about the Cleveland Browns with a guy that you know pretty well, Coach Romeo. If it's you, and you know when it's not,
it's me.
When is Brady Quinn? What's the timetable here?
He should have actually started the game last week.
So?
Everybody's clamoring for the guy. None of us here, none of the fans, none of the.
Why did you?
You don't know. Where is the player now? He wasn't in training camp. What's he capable of doing? Would you want to be put in?
You had all season in college to look at him.
Would you want to be put in a position as a player?
You had mini camp to look at him.
It's not about looking. Would you, Keyshawn Johnson, want to be put in a position as a player where you couldn't succeed?
If I'm Romeo Cornell, I'm trying to put the players in position and I can win the game so I can keep my job.
Suppose you can't succeed because you don't have a good knowledge base. Then what do you want to do? You want to sit or you want to get that knowledge base?
At this point in time for Romeo, it does not matter.
You know, that Carson Palmer, he had a year to sit. That's why he's doing well.
But the coach job wasn't on the line. This coach job is on the line.
It's an organizational decision.
He's part of the organization.
Well,
he needs to make the decision.
You put him in there and then get the caskets ready.
Oh, well, I won't be around to bury him if I'm the coach, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Get the caskets ready.
We'll get the caskets ready. Let's go out to one of our quarterback. That would be Steve Young. You've looked at Brady Quinn. You studied him, draft, everything else. Is he ready for the starting job now? What do you think, Steve?
Well, I think Coach might have missed the primary receiver on the read and react right there. Brady Quinn, in my mind, came out of college more prepared as a rookie. I don't know what his upside really is, but as a rookie, more prepared physically, emotionally, and mentally as far as being ready to play football. Yeah, there are a lot of young quarterbacks that are thrown to the wolves, especially on bad teams. I'm not saying that he will be successful right out of the box, but no one is more prepared to handle this than Brady Quinn. To my mind, if there's going to be a young kid you're going to throw to the wolves, this is the kid that can at least stand up and take it.
Tell you what, Brady Quinn at the combine bench pressed 225 times, 24 times he bench pressed that weight. Well, better than half the linebackers, better than 9 linemen.
There's the key for quarterbacking.
No,
How
I'm just
many
saying,
bench presses can you
give
put
it
on?
to him, because if he gets mad, if you don't, he might be able to throw you up in the air a little bit.
Squeeze you, boom.
I guarantee if you stack Mike Tirico, Tony Kornheiser, and Ron Jaworski up together, that's like 550 pounds. Brady could get that 1 rep, maybe. Mike, the fellas in the booth calling the game. What you got for us?
Jaws would be the most qualified to be sacked of this group, without question. Is good to be back with everyone. Looking forward here to this opener. I want to turn our attention back to the game tonight within the division everyone was just talking about with Cleveland, of course, here in this AFC North. We've got a great matchup. We've got the offense for the Bengals and the defense for the Ravens, and that is a wow factor matchup on the field. But very often when you have a matchup like this, guys, it's what happens on the other side of the ball when the Ravens are on offense and the Bengals are on defense that decides who wins the game. And, Tony, that means a lot of it could fall on Brian Billick, the play caller still, and Steve McNair. Together, they did win 13 games last year.
Yeah, as Jaws knows, sometimes a quarterback and a coach are fused at the hip.
Yep.
If not for Steve McNair last year, it's possible Brian Billick would not be the coach of the Ravens today. He was 6-10 the year before, very publicly on the hot seat. McNair comes in, and as you say, Mike, they go 13-3. And that bond is such that for the first time in Brian Billick's 9 years with the Ravens, he's got a quarterback starting 2 consecutive opening games that he has total confidence in McNair. There's one other thing that makes him breathe easier on the sidelines. Much of this was accomplished when McNair was at Tennessee. But his record against Cincinnati in 16 games, 21 touchdowns, only 5 picks. That's pretty good.
That's good. He's picked apart some bad defenses. So if that makes him feel good, here's something Billick and all the Ravens are worried about. That's a guy who's 6'9", 345, and a future Hall of Famer, Jonathan Ogden. His toe is bad, and that could be really bad for the Ravens here. He hasn't played at all in the preseason.
Mike, you're absolutely right. 6'9", 345, left foot, torn ligament on that left foot. Did not play it down or practice throughout the preseason. Began to practice only last week. Now he's going up against Justin Smith, who played very well against Ogden a year ago. Justin Smith is one of those edge pass rushers. He won't go down the middle of Ogden because Ogden is a mauler. He's going to go on the edge. Now here's where the problem comes in for Steve McNair. If Ogden cannot handle Smith, that means Todd Heap, the tight end, must stay in the block. And you don't want to have Todd Heap blocking. He's a terrific pass receiver.
Okay, so we got you interested for when the Ravens are on offense and the Bengals are on defense. Well, let's be honest. Everybody's attention is when the Bengals have the ball and Ray Lewis is getting his guys ready on the Ravens defense. Watch.
One heartbeat, one man! One heartbeat, one man! What time is it? Game time! Game time! Doesn't ask! It doesn't ask! What time is it? Game time! Time is it? Game time! Doesn't ask! It doesn't ask!
In the dogs in the house, you know, the quarterback.
I'm afraid of that guy.
You're afraid of him?
I'm afraid of him.
You're not playing anymore.
I know, but I'm afraid.
It's okay.
Right? That's it. I'll tell you right now.
Carson Palmer got some dog in him. Last year, he became the first Bengals quarterback in history to throw for 4,000 yards. What do you see out of him this year, Steve?
Well, I think he's a technically perfect quarterback. You like him drop back, his footwork, and everything he does on the field physically.
He looks like Troy Aikman.
He does look a little bit like Troy.
Look a whole lot like Troy Aikman when he's dropping back.
And the way he throws the football?
The way he throws the football.
When I said technically perfect?
Technically perfect, he looks like Troy Aikman.
Troy, that would include you into Troy Aikman?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what they're going to ask for him for as far as Carson this year, it's not necessarily what he does on the field. I think that unlike, Jaws put him in the top 3 quarterbacks with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. If you're going to put him in that group, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning have a lot more help with their organizations.
Just like Troy Aikman.
Cincinnati Bengals are like a 3-ring circus, and he's going to be asked to take on a much bigger leadership role, much more public leadership role.
Just like
he is
Troy.
A quiet, hard-working guy that is very underspoken. He's going to have to stand up and be much more outspoken on the field, on the locker room, on the sidelines, and really be a surrogate coach for this whole team. And I expect
Troy
him to do
Aikman
that.
did that, and I'm going to show you why with this tape.
He didn't need a lot of help. He had a lot of help.
He had a lot of help. Here's the tape. Look at Carson Palmer. You look at Troy Aikman. They're almost identical in that helmet. Look at them. Look just like twins, like brothers. Look at them. Drop back, arm position in the same direction. Troy grabbed the ball, throws the ball. Just look at the launch angle. The launch angles look just identical. 2 good-looking kids.
Yeah, I'm sure
and great quarterbacks.
I guarantee you, Carson
Troy got 3 rings. Carson has none.
Troy has Troy had a lot of help. Carson doesn't have a lot of help. It's a much tougher job for Carson.
All right, guys, one word. Who wins this division, AFC North?
I'm going to drink the Baltimore Ravens Kool-Aid and believe that Willis McGahee will give them enough points, 21 a game, to take this division.
I'm going with the Ravens also.
Tell you what, though, since this division was formed in 2002, no team has gone back-to-back with division crowns. Ravens trying to do that this year. Still to come, Ray Lewis never has a problem pumping up his fellas, ever. But wait till you see how he gets himself pumped up. Ray's incredible workout regime coming up. Then it's Monday Night Football. Ravens at the Bengals only on ESPN.
Like we always do at this time, I go for mine, I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine, I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I'ma get on the TV, mama. I'ma push it down. Hey, I'm good.
And Ray Lewis, there he is. You saw him pumping up the team a moment ago. Ravens on the road at Cincinnati. A big game when they chalk it all up in the AFC North. Whoever wins this one, be a big pelt to have if you want to win the division. When Marvin Lewis looks across the sideline tonight, he'll see a defense that still bears his fingerprints. Before arriving in Cincinnati, remember, he was the Ravens' defensive coordinator and built one of pro football's most dominant defenses ever, a unit built around a player still one of the most feared in football. Under Marvin Lewis, Ray Lewis became a Super Bowl MVP and eventually a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now Ray enters his 12th season. So how's he been able to do it so well for so long? Here's a clue.
I may not be the biggest, I may not be the fastest, but I don't believe there's a man walking this earth that will outwork me.
Ray Lewis has always known how to work, but when he decided this summer that learning to kickbox might get him in better shape for football, he discovered a whole new level of labor.
My first day, I'm telling you, my arms was hanging like this. I was like, I've never felt fatigue like this.
It wasn't pretty at all. It was something that he never, I guess, never could imagine with the ring coordination as far as the muscle endurance, the punching, the kicking. It's a little different for him. But in time, he caught on and he realized that it was a good challenge for him.
You never stop moving. You never stop moving. And you know, in a football game, you know, one play, your longest play might be 8 seconds, if that, you know? So you get in the ring and you're constantly moving for 3 minutes. So it's like, once you get on the football field, like I go do football drills now and I'm like, okay, like, right, I need something else to do.
Lewis also learned to move more with his hips, a skill he thinks will help him chase opponents, no matter where they go.
So show me what you're doing.
What that does is take my whole torso. So let's say I'm going here, on a drop, here, or here. Maybe to go either way, all hips. So when you see I throw my hook, I throw everything into it. It's just like a play. If I go down, I'm going down. If I got to twist out of a play, I got to twist out of a play.
How much of a difference do you think we're going to see on the field with Ray this season because of the work you guys have done?
Wow. Wow, words can't express what the world going to see this year. He's ready, he's in tip-top shape, he's strong, he's fast. I mean, he's going to blow the world's mind.
That's what has me excited, to know that the shape I'm in right now, I have just the opportunity, not based on wins and losses, but just the opportunity to go display this. So that's probably my biggest motivation right now.
And an excellent job, as always, by Rachel Nichols. Thank you. So, Ray, go in here with the play. Is he the same player that he's been, Tom?
He's the same player that he's been because he's able to do the same things, which is run laterally to the football sideline to sideline, which is what I've always loved about watching Ray Lewis. When you think about that Super Bowl year, you know, Tony Saragusa and Sam Adams, two big guys inside. I think he sat in on a draft meeting. They got Halate Nada, a guy who weighs 340 pounds. If you allow him to run to the ball without getting hats on him and making fight-off blocks, absolutely he's the same player.
Well, and remember the Super Bowl, right? Those huge guys, as you point out, and with the big fella up front, you know how often they touch Ray if Halote's playing well? Nada. They don't touch him at all. Now for our teams at 20, let's go back to Ray Lewis's Ravens and check in with Sal Palantonio. Sal?
Hey, Boomer, as everybody knows, the Ravens defense led the league last year in points allowed, but one guy who's got a long ball streak against them is Carson Palmer, the only quarterback in the league to hit 5 straight games of a completion of 40 yards or more, and the Ravens are tired of it. Ed Reed told me Carson Palmer will get more than 60 different looks tonight on defense, and the Ravens' motto tonight is attack, attack, attack. Now for a report on the Bengals, here's Bob Holtzman.
Well, Sal, just had a chance to catch up with Chad Johnson a little while ago, and I can tell you, as you're about to see, he's as loose as ever.
You know, the world will cease for a couple hours as he continues to watch 85 show off tonight. A couple minutes later after that, I got a text message from Oprah. Oprah, you know, is taking time out of her busy day to watch 85 also. So,
now, Chad Johnson says he said a lot of things this week that have rubbed people the wrong way, so he has no other choice but to go out and prove them wrong. Boomer?
All right, Bob, thank you very much. So the band is playing. That means we're ready for kickoff, that's for sure. Still ahead, we're ready for our much-heralded Field Pass segment. Your favorite players warming up. Paul Brown Stadium, we'll take a look. We'll analyze who might have the biggest impact on tonight's game. We'll be right back.
Monday Night Countdown is delivered by UPS.
Oh, Tom, there you go. A classic Cincinnati snack. Some famous Skyline chili. Pasta, chili, cheese. Mel Brooks might like it. A lethally tasty combination. Now some football food for thought each week on Monday Night Football. Here on Monday Night Countdown, we feature biggest stars of the game. We go to Field Pass, give you the best seat in the house. So, who's warming up for Cincinnati? You got to start with their QB. You got Brady, you got Peyton Manning, and then perhaps number 9, Carson Palmer, not coming off injury this year. What can we expect from him, Cole?
Well, I agree with you, Chris. I think he's in the top 3. And Steve, I hope you're listening. I know Keyshawn is. This guy sat out for a whole year before they put him in the game. They didn't throw him to the Wolves, even though they didn't have a quarterback. Now he's producing at a good level like he did in college. Past performance equals future achievement.
Well, we see what kind of achievement he has this year coaching tonight against that tough Ravens defense, who feature Willis McGahee on the ground.
Willis McGahee.
Willis McGahee. Emmett, he's a new Ravens running back. I know he's a Cane, not a Gator, but what does he have to do to get off tonight, Emmett?
Tonight he has to get off to a very good start. He has to read his blocks up front, slash, cut, and make the right decisions. He also have to block in the passing game to help Steve McNair open up some of the passes so he can get some more running room. To me, I think tonight Willis McGahee should have a big night. He should surpass that 990 yards he had last year with the Bills. He should do better with the Ravens.
Well, there's Willis McGahee, and here's Chad Johnson. You can hear him, but Keyshawn, as far as studying routes, isn't he one of the best in running routes?
I think the one thing that he's going to have to do tonight is play physical. These guys are going to get up on him, and they're going to try to disrupt his timing and do some things to take him out the game. He's had success against them in the past, and if you look at it, over 1,300 yards leading the league in yardage last year and have set all sorts of different records in doing things and helping his team advance into the playoffs. He has a healthy Carson Palmer back, and he is ready to explode onto the scene this year and show plenty of those gold teeth.
Gold teeth. Stu, what do we know about that?
Hey, Boom, I don't know anything about gold teeth. I do know Steve McNair is a gold quarterback. Started all 16 games for the first time since 2002. Steve Young, Bill Parcells' new favorite quarterback all time. Can Steve do it again?
Steve can do it again, especially if he can get some help. They were one-dimensional last year, and they get Willis McGahee running the football, as I said earlier in the show, and Steve McNair can now turn back, put the ball in Willis's belly, pull it back out, and Todd Heap running down the middle of the field. Steve can keep his shirt clean all year long. That's why I believe for Steve McNair to be successful, he needs to find help from a running back called Willis McGahee, and that starts tonight.
Now, he's got a long name, but he's got a long list of receptions. You say Hushman Zeta?
I say Hushman Zeta.
What do you say about the way he plays, Tom?
Well, you know, he's a number 2 receiver who really could be a 1 on a lot of other teams if he wasn't playing with Chad Johnson. You see the numbers there. Those are the numbers that usually you see from a number 1. Outstanding route runner. He's got outstanding speed. He's good in the red zone. You know, you love TJ because he's one of those receivers on the offside that can do everything, and he benefits from having Chad Johnson, who gets the majority of the coverages rolled toward him.
Plenty of offensive firepower on the Cincinnati side of the ball, that is for sure. Ravens, Bengals in Cincy. Kickoff in game 1 of our Monday night doubleheader, just minutes away. We'll pick the game. Final thoughts coming up.
Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you? And in part by the personal advisors of Ameriprise Financial and McDonald's.
Opening kickoff of Monday Night Football 2007, just moments away. Bengals have won 4 of the last 5 against the Ravens. Can they continue that trend tonight? Hey, the lead pipe lock will be a crowded party this year. 8 guys will be picking for the right to win that piece of metal at the end of the year. We start tonight, Ravens, Bengals. Steve, lead us off.
I've
no
drunk
pressure.
the Baltimore Ravens Kool-Aid. I think Willis McGahee's going to run the football, and Baltimore wins this football game.
I'm with the Ravens also, but I'll tell you what, I cannot believe in Cincinnati's defense. I believe more in the Baltimore Ravens' overall team speed and team ability than I do the Cincinnati Bengals defense.
Chad Johnson told me he's got something special planned. Hey, I might go with the Ravens at the end of the season, top to bottom. I think they're more talented, top to bottom. But tonight, hometown team wins. I go with the Bengals. Speaking of hometown, Cincinnati, TJ, what do you pick?
Stu, I'm picking the Bengals because I think that Carson Palmer and that offense are going to put up enough points where they beat the Baltimore Ravens. You know, they've beaten them 3 out of the last 4 times. I don't think there's any reason that I should believe it won't be 4 out of 5.
Well, I'm a defensive coach at heart, so I am going to select a team that should be familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, Keyshawn.
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens because they have Willis McGahee, that tippy guy's in Cleveland playing running back.
Well, I noticed that nobody mentioned it, but I smoked everybody here in this section last year with the lead pipe lock. And so with the Ravens involved, it's got to be an interesting score. I'm picking Cincinnati 18, Baltimore 11. Don't ask me how they're going to get to that. Hit me. It's a blackjack table. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this wild 2-hour opening edition of Monday Night Countdown. For Emmett and for Steve and for Stu, enjoy the game. Nice to see you. For Mort, thanks for all the information. For Tom and ex-coach but current Bill Parcells, nice to have you back home.
Thanks, Chris.
Keyshawn Johnson, looking dapper. I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching this edition of a Monday Night Countdown, a lid lift.